Assalamualaikum. I'm in the unenviable position of having to follow Mehdi Hassan. First of all, I want to thank you very much for having me. I'm really glad actually to be with you this evening to stand together against those who seek to divide Muslims along sectarian lines and foment hatred within our eclectic family. Over the last few weeks, we've heard the conflicts in the Middle East increasingly painted as the inevitable product of age-old rivalries at the heart of Islam. The modern reenactment, we're told, of intractable divisions within the faith, which necessarily imply the resurrection of hatred and bloodshed at sporadic points in our history. And of course, despite plenty of historical evidence to suggest that Muslims have coped perfectly well at various periods within their own history with internal divisions, as well as other forms of religious diversity, the familiar narrative of Sunni Shia hatred is now the mood music to most explanations of conflict in the Middle East and beyond. You just have to look at some of the recent headlines in relation to events in Syria and elsewhere. I just Googled a few before I came. If you just Google Syria conflict, you get the BBC headline, Sunnis and Shias, Islam's ancient schism. Or another headline in the Huffington Post, sorry Mehdi, Shia and Sunni tensions in Syria threaten to split British Muslim community. Or The Independent, the vicious schism between Sunni and Shia has been poisoning Islam for 14,000 years and it's getting worse. And where better to end than with the Daily Mail, the ancient loathing between Sunnis and Shiites is threatening to tear apart the Muslim world. Interestingly, this simplistic narrative boils down complex conflicts which are in fact linked to issues of power, corruption, tribalism, occupation, and systemic failures really in terms of the modern state, to cosmic battles rooted in belief. And this is a view shared really across the board, from left-wing media pundits to our very own religious right, both espousing the view that it is religion in essence which is at the heart of these troubles. And moreover, that we, all of us, all Muslims, wherever we may be, will necessarily be dragged into this inevitable conflict. And so it is really imperative for events like these to happen, for us to remind ourselves, and others of course, of the fundamental bonds which unite us, to never be complacent about recognising the humanity of the other, and ultimately to never allow political squabbles, which is what this is about ultimately, to drag our faith through the mud. Could there be anything more sacrilegious than Muslims killing other Muslims in the name of Islam? And as we hear of increasing numbers of idealistic young people being drawn to conflicts abroad on false pretenses of building an Islamic state, we must absolutely counter that narrative, which allows these heretical elements to gain a monopoly over the significance of what is Islamic or not. We can't allow claims to religious authority by pseudo-leaders to be given any credence in their claims. I recently gave a radio interview in which I was asked to comment on ISIL's claim to have established an Islamic state in Iraq, to which my response was, and please forgive my irreverence, that he, meaning al-Baghdadi, is just some punk in the desert. Why are we giving him giving his claim any credence? And that's the crux of it, really, for me. There were other pretenders before him, and there will be other pretenders after him. The real issue is for those who are in positions of religious authority to deconstruct those claims, the claims of imposters, and critically to emphasise the values of humanhood, I chose the word over brotherhood, and unity, which is, of course, the two central values, I think, at the core of our shared faith. I'm going to leave it there because I know you're all hungry and I'm very thirsty. Thank you.
Thank you, Myriam, for giving us a bit of background about the history, and of course reflecting on the current circumstances as well. Well, now of course we will be extremely pleased